Welcome back, Savages, and tonight we're talking Stigmata. I love that word. And tonight's famous person is Pepe Le Pew.
It is not Pepe Le Pew.
I can't say his name without thinking Pepe Le Pew.
It's Saint Padre Pio.
Pepe Le Pew.
I don't know really if it's pronounced Pio or Pio, but to me it would
Pio. Yeah, whatever. Pepe Le Pew.
Saint Padre Pio.
Pepe Le Pew.
I found him most fascinating when I was reading about all the different cases of stigmata. And I think if I remember, there's 361 cases of
Jesus.
stigmata.
No pun intended. So, that was a good one. For those of you who may not know what stigmata is, it is the phenomenon where basically the wounds that Jesus had, it's a bad taste in my mouth, on the hands, the feet, but sometimes people can have the wrists or the hands, the feet, the wound that he had near his rib cage, and then the wound he had on his back. So depending on the case that you're looking at when people talk about stigmata, there are multiple versions. It's just the most that are talked about are the hands and feet.
There's also cases of like internal afflictions with your heart and such, where you get the feeling that it usually comes with visions or voices. But
so not everybody's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier. I have pain in my heart all the time.
Right? Yes.
But I'm going to hell. There's a difference.
Yes. So, Saint Padre Pio
Pepe Le Pew
was an Italian priest who was known for his charity, his selflessness, his care for others, basically.
Most of the other saints.
Right. But most of what he's known for was his gift, as they call it, of stigmata. They've never been able to explain any of it away. In most cases, they'll say they're self-inflicted, or they can prove that they somehow got this wound another way. Nobody's ever been able to explain his away. He was born in 1887 in Italy.
Times.
His parents were peasant farmers, of course. He had an older brother, 3 younger sisters, and 2 other siblings that died when they were babies. As a child, he was very religious, and by the age of 5, he told his parents he is dedicating his life to God. His parents, back in that time, were very religious, and they supported him, so they took him to daily mass.
Oh my God.
He was an altar boy at his local parish. He was known for taking on penances, and his mother once yelled at him for sleeping on the stone floor instead of his bed.
I'm just stuck on the fact that he was an altar boy.
I know. Ever since he was a child, he was able to see what he described as guardian angels. He spoke with Jesus and the Virgin Mary. And they say this was nothing that somebody taught him. It was just, it came naturally to him. So he didn't even think that there was anything strange about it.
Yeah, but you think about that concept now, and people are automatically schizophrenic or psychotic or have some kind of mental health issue. And you're not supposed to see people that aren't there or hear voices that tell you to do things.
And if you do, if they don't automatically go to one of those things, if it's demonic.
Yeah.
Then it was, oh, it's your guardian angel, or oh, it's Jesus. Now it's Satan, or you're just crazy.
Make up your mind, people.
So he spent many years working in order to be able to attend the daily masses and do all the things that they wanted to do, because they didn't have a very large income. So he was not able to attend school. He was also a very sickly child.
They usually are.
Yeah. When he was 6, he had a bad bout of gastroenteritis that knocked him out for quite some time. When he was
and rice.
10, right?
It'll solve that problem.
Chicken and rice and some Fortiflora. When he was 10, he had typhoid fever. Then finally in 1897, after he had finally made it to school for 3 years, he decided he wanted to become a friar. They traveled to a nearby village, talked to some monks, and he was too young, but they were willing to possibly overlook that, but he hadn't had enough schooling yet.
Right.
So he had to go back home.
Because you can't be a priest and be stupid at the same time.
Right. So he went back home. They had to work extra jobs. They got him a tutor. His father left them and traveled to America for work in order to be able to pay for the tutor. Finally, when he was 15, he entered, I'm not even going to try to say it, but he entered this particular parish or whatever as a friar. And he took the name of Pio in honor of Pope Pius. Or Pius, I don't know.
It doesn't make it better either way.
At the age of 17, he became extremely ill and could only digest milk and cheese.
Which we talked about earlier.
That is two of the most difficult things to digest.
Yeah, because I remember after having my tonsils out, they told my mom no milk and no ice cream, because they used to give you ice cream, but then they found out that the ice cream makes mucus, which makes you cough.
Right.
Which you don't want after having your throat all kebabbed.
And your stomach can't process the cheese and the milk and the, I don't know.
Which is why they tell you you're supposed to eat it in small increments, unless you really like cheese, but you're lactose intolerant, you really shouldn't.
Yeah. Or you eat a giant bowl of ice cream and you can't have that much either.
Listen, you had 2 scoops that were this big.
Yeah.
That was a lot of ice cream.
Yeah,
even my stomach was like,
God.
no.
All right. So anyways, he was sent to the mountains for some better air. When that didn't work, he was sent home to his family, and he continued his study for the priesthood there. On one occasion during prayer, a fellow monk noticed he was levitating, which is wild.
My name's Chris Angel, and this is Mind Freak.
He finally became a priest in 1910, but he was permitted to remain at home because of his poor health. He was drafted into the medical service in 1915 with World War I. He was so sickly that he was often sent home, but then they would immediately recall him back into service. He was finally dismissed in 1916 for his poor health. On September 20th of that year, he was hearing confessions when he started to feel pain in his hands and feet, and that's when he noticed the stigmata. He says, it was extremely painful, it was bleeding, but the wounds didn't smell like blood or flesh, or even as time progressed, there was never that rotting smell, nothing. They smelled like roses.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah, they never became infected, nothing. And the doctors who examined him were amazed of the perfectly round shape of the holes. He was also, on more than one occasion after the initial one, he was known to be seen levitating multiple times. He was known to perform miracles.
So he was Christ reincarnated for a hot minute.
I don't know. That's the story that I find most fascinating out of all of the Stigmata stories. His is just, you can't explain that away.
No. Because most of the time they have found that people have done it self-inflicted, because usually there's a sign of infection. There's a mental health something or other. They're never done in the right spots. And if they are in the right spots, it's never what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And even though he was a sickly child/adult, he even had cancer at one point in time, had 2 treatments, and it miraculously disappeared.
The power of Christ compels you. That's why I'm going to hell. I'm going to be reincarnated into a fire hydrant that the dogs pee on, because I cannot take religion seriously.
Pope John Paul II recognized him as a saint on June 16th, 2002.
That's a long time after he'd been dead.
You have to be dead for a long time before you can be a saint.
That seems like a very long time.
I don't know.
No. When would he have died? He was born the late...
He died 1968.
Wow. He lived a long time.
Yeah. He was
2002 from 1968. It's not too bad.
He was born in 1887 to 1968.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's all decrepit and like hunching around.
Nah, he just floated his way everywhere.
That's just...
No. Oh, okay. There's the other thing that I find interesting is it happens more with females than males.
I noticed that in a lot of the history research. Yeah, my lisp was coming out hardcore today. I noticed that in a lot of the research, it's mostly females, and a lot of them were diagnosed with some kind of mental issue. At least by men. They were diagnosed by men.
Well, men also thought that getting your period and having PMS was a mental disorder.
Yeah.
So I don't really put much stock into that.
No. So there is the case of Saint Ansbert of Rowan. Hers was 69 AD, can be considered the earliest stigmata due to the claims of witnesses following his death.
Oh.
It says when they had opened his tomb, they thought his body would stink because the amount of time that had elapsed since had been buried. Such a sweet fragrance, odor like diversity of flowers flowed forth. I don't remember anything from the Bible, but didn't usually when people die they put flowers and stuff because of the smell. So you have that without actually having flowers in there. That could be considered its own phenomena.
And the fact that most of, at least half, if not more, of the stories I read, they all had the odor of flowers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this says too.
There was one that was really weird. Olive oil was seen in her wounds, but
it puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again. I couldn't help that one.
But the vast majority of them are roses or flowers.
Yeah. It said that the whole church was filled with little drops of balsam, which is, vinegar? And when the brothers who had come to see him from the neighboring province removed the clothes in which he had been buried because they wanted to change them, wishing to dress him in new clothes, they found on his forearms the sign of the Dominical cross bearing the likeness of a red color.
Balsam is like a sap.
Okay. It was, lost it. Yep. Likeness and of red color. It was evident to all the faithful that this was given to be understood that while he lived, he bore the arms of Christ in his heart. Therefore, Christ's stigmata were revealed on the body of the dead man. And then you have Saint Francis of Assisi. I learned about this one when I was in Catholicism classes. This one is considered the first recorded stigmatic in Christian history in 1224, 2 years before his death. It says he embarked on a journey to Mount La Verna for a 4-day fast. The legend states that one morning near the feast of the exaltation of the cross, a 6-winged angel appeared to Francis while he prayed. As the angel approached, Francis could see that the angel was crucified. He was humbled by the sight, and his heart was filled with the elation joined by pain and suffering. When the angel departed, Francis was left with wounds in his hands, feet, and side, as if caused by the same lance that pierced Christ's side. It says the images of nails immediately appeared in his hands and feet, and the wounds in his side often seeped blood. Pope Alexander 1-5, what is that?
4.
Pope Alexander IV and other witnesses declared that they had seen these marks both before and after his death. In traditional artistic depictions of the incident, Francis is accomplished by a Franciscan brother.
Huh.
Yeah.
So here's a little tidbit just about stigmata in general. It's, again, the greatest number are women. The person earns it by being especially devoted. They say that one of the reasons that women get it more than men is because they have more powerful experiences and a greater association and sympathy. A person experiencing stigmata can be called a Christ figure. It's one of the closest relationships possible with Jesus. The blood of stigmata is never considered polluting. It's very sacred and considered to be literally the blood of Christ.
I used to drink that every Sunday.
It tasted very great.
A little stale.
Yeah. The blood usually emits a perfumish odor. They never fester. The skin never dies. They never get infected. Nothing like that.
No decomposition.
Yes.
I don't like the fact that you're laughing, and I don't know what you're laughing about, which makes it even better.
I'm just still on your festering thing and your bleh.
No, it's gross. Saint Francis also had physical ailments.
Yeah.
Throughout most of his life. Yes. Huh. So I wonder if it has anything to do with that too.
I mean, it could be because they've had great suffering through their lives, and I don't know, but I would think that has something to do with it.
Miriam Teresa, is that Saint Teresa? Miriam Teresa Caramel?
I don't know.
She was the first saint from India with stigmata with none. Oh, and she was a nun.
Most of the time, the stigmata is generally the hands and the feet, but I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. Saint Margaret Mary Elcoque. She only got the marks from the crowns.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's it. That's all she got. But they say it doesn't have to be one or the other. But I thought that was interesting. The St. Francis guy that you talked about, he had the side and the hands and the feet. Then Pio just had, I don't know, they never said anything about the feet, but he had the hands.
It said he had 5, but we don't know which ones.
Yeah, so I don't know where exactly he had, but we know he had the hands. But then they also said that he had the heart, where his was like more like pains in the heart.
That could be the spear pain.
Right.
Because where it cut him was essentially across his chest.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So many stigmatics have been exposed for using trickery.
Yes.
Magdalena de la Cruz, for example, confessed before she died that her stigmata was deliberate deception. Who does that? I'm just going to stab myself in the feet and hands and be like, hello. No.
Somebody who really needs attention.
That's called self-harm, and we don't do that because it's not nice.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Early neurologist Desiree Magloria Bourneville. Yep, we're going with that. Published works which stated that saints claiming to produce miracles or stigmata and those claiming to be possessed were actually suffering from epilepsy or hysteria. Some modern research has indicated stigmata are of hysterical origin or linked to dissociative identity disorder.
Okay.
It says there is a link between dietary constriction by self-starvation, dissociative mental states, and self-mutilation in the context of a religious belief. Anorexia nervosa cases have often displayed self-mutilation similar to stigmata as part of a ritualistic obsessive compulsive disorder. I've seen that.
Right.
A relationship between starvation and self-mutilation has been reported amongst prisoners of war and during famines. Because basically, you just start losing your mind and your body shutting down, and self-harm is the way for you to still feel alive.
But there's also a twist to that, because a lot of people with stigmata, they have been known to go... There's one lady, she slept a total of 3 hours in a week because they don't need sleep. There was another story, one of them, all he survived on were the communion wafers. That's it, because he was never hungry.
Those are gross. So gross.
So
stale bread.
That's a hard one there, because these things can cause people to do self-harm, can look like stigmata, but stigmata can also cause these things.
Yes. Because either way, you're putting your body through hell.
Right.
There is no way around it. Any of those things are going to cause your mental capacity to just start diminishing.
Yeah. So, Saint Catherine of Siena, she received the stigmata during Lent. But she could only see it. Nobody else could see it.
Oh.
She could feel it. She could see it. After she died is when they all became visible to other people. So that's weird. And then there's been other cases where it only shows up on holy days or things like that. Fridays were generally considered a holy day. So we have
Good Friday.
Yeah. Saint Gemma something.
Galani.
Yeah. So from about 8 p.m. on Thursday until 3 p.m. on Friday every week for 4 years after she got them, they would show up between that time frame.
That would drive me friggin' nuts.
She had been sick and paralyzed when she was 19. 2 years later, in 1899, after years of praying for a cure, she received a vision in which the wounds of Jesus were on fire before they then touched her and showed up on her. They remained on her body after death. Then there was another one, St. Catherine de' Ricci, who had a similar experience where they would show up on Thursday at noon until Friday at 4 p.m. Saint Rita.
There's a lot of names on that list. Rita of Cassica.
Yes.
Yeah.
She asked Jesus for a piece of his pain and suffering, specifically for one of the thorns from his crown to embed itself in her head. Her prayer was answered, and she lived with the pain of Jesus, uniting herself to his suffering. Though her wound smelled rotten when she was alive, once she passed, the only odor that came from her entire body was a pleasant flowery scent.
Go away, stupid fly.
Yeah, we have 2 of them in here.
I know, it's driving me nuts. Ew. Weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. There is the non-Christian stigmata, too. Among the... Oh, this isn't going to come out good. Among the Wero of the Oronico Delta, a contemplator of Tuileries spirits may mystically induce the development of imagined openings in the palms of his hands. The Buddhist stigmatas are regularly indicated in Buddhist art. Some spiritualists, Jesus Christ, I can't talk today. Some spiritualist mediums have also produced stigmata during the seances of German medium Marie Volhart. It was alleged that bleeding wounds appeared. However, Albert Moll, a psychiatrist, considered her phenomenon to be fraudulent. There are lots of noble stigmatics. So the most is Francis of Assisi, Marguerite Bay, Marie Esperanza de Bianchi, Miriam Bayordi, Lucy Roccadelli, Bernadette, Jesus.
Better watch what you ask for there, lady.
I know, right?
All of a sudden you're like, ah!
Benedetta Carlini, he doesn't want me. Rita of Cassia, Miriam Teresa Carmel, Anne or Annie, I think it's Anne Catherick Emmerich, Natu Evola, Marie Rose Farron, Gemma Gualini, Veronica Giolini, Teresa Helena Higginson, I'm so sorry, Marie of the Incarnation, Marie Julie Chaheny, Amelia of Jesus Flagellated, we're going with that, Louise Latour, Marie Domenica Larazzi, Annalise, I think it's Michael, Teresa Newman, Marceline Popper, Louisa Picarata, Pepe Le Pew, Padre Pio, Catherine Ritchie, Martha, Robin, Catherine of Siena, Zakato Zudka, and Rhonda Weiss. Those are the most famous ones.
So there's actually a few of them in the 21st century.
Whoo!
So I'm going to totally butcher some of this. Myrna Nazur, a married Syrian woman from Damascus. She's one of the most prominent modern stigmatics. Hers began in 1982, but they've continued well into the 21st century. She claims to have received visions of the Virgin Mary and exhibit stigmata wounds because that was his mom. You don't mess with the babies or the mama bear comes out. She had wounds on her hands, feet, and forehead, and they often appeared mostly during Holy Weeks. This is the olive oil. So they first appeared and they were accompanied by olive oil exuding from her hands and Marianne icon in her home. So it was coming from both her and the statue. The events have been witnessed by crowds, and her case has drawn support from her local Catholic bishop.
The demons be gone.
Yeah. Updates have been scarce since Syria's turmoil in 2011, but scarce. Yeah. But all reports say it was still going on the last time anybody checked on her.
Grandma, why do you have olive oil dripping from your hands? Here, do you want it on your pizza?
Ew. Then there's Irving Francis Hoole. He died in 2009. That's probably how you say it based on how it's spelled. He is from Michigan. He experienced stigmata starting in 1990 with bleeding episodes continuing until his death in 2009. He was a devout Catholic and father of 5. Go figure.
Nothing better to do.
His was unique because he was just a normal, everyday Joe, not anybody special.
No, but it goes back to him being a devout Catholic.
So he first reported wounds on his hands and feet and side that bled daily, especially on Fridays. He kept a low profile but was investigated by his diocese, which found no evidence of fraud. It persisted into the 2000s with witnesses, including priests, attesting to its authenticity before he passed in January of 2009. This one, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. This is from 2016. 23-year-old. Oh, here, yeah. There you go. Have fun.
I like butchering things. Oh, Toya Paupega. We're going with that one.
What she said.
Toya. Just call her Toya for short.
Yeah. Toyo. 23-year-old Samoan woman made headlines when she allegedly displayed stigmata during a Good Friday church play. This one was weird.
Okay.
She was actually portraying Jesus in a crucifix reenactment when she started bleeding from her hands, feet, forehead, and side. Footage actually aired on Samoan TV and showed the blood streaming down her arms. Some hailed it as a miracle, others called it a hoax and self-inflicted. But as of when this article was written, there's been no documentation to say that it was
or
fake.
wasn't. Yeah.
Or self-inflicted or anything.
I've heard of that happening where people that, because a lot of Catholics and whatnot, they do all the Christ reenactments. And I have heard that a lot of people that do play Jesus, weird things happen to them.
Yeah. So there's one more. This one's from Latin America. The guy's name is Emiliano Aiden, an Argentine man who claimed wrist-based stigmata in the early 2000s. He reported bleeding from his wrists, not his hands. But again, that's one of the things with the way he was up there. The wrists are also one of the places that people have the wounds. Starting in 1996 with episodes continuing into the 2000s, he attributes it to divine intervention, though the church has neither confirmed nor denied.
Because they don't.
His case overlaps with the new millennium, and he is still alive as of last reports, still experiencing it today.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that. I want something fun.
Right, no. I don't want to bleed. I'm good.
Some of us don't have that option yet.
Again, most of these cases are women. Don't you think we've bled enough?
Right. No.
We don't need it. Thank you.
No. I think I want to believe in this, but we all know how I feel about religion things.
Even if you
that was almost a mishap.
Even if you take away the religious aspect of it, there was still the person that this happened to.
Yes.
So, is it possible that something like this can happen? Sure.
I wake up all the time with random bruises that I don't know how they got there. That could be, it could be some kind of internal illness or whatnot. It could be a number of things. Do I absolutely 100% believe that these people are being invoked with Jesus Christ? No. Do I think, but I'm not going to tell that person, no, I don't believe you. Because you're allowed to.
Even if you want to go like on the supernatural edge of this, okay, even if you take away the fact that he is a religious figure, we know for a fact that things can happen to people, through people, from spirits. So, is it possible that they're having the same experience he did? Sure, even if he's not a holy figure.
Because we have those people that who say they've been possessed by demons, or that an angel has walked through them, or they've seen this or they've seen that, and they felt this and they felt that. I'm not going to tell you that I don't believe you. I'm going to tell you that, okay, whatever, stuff happens. But am I going to go out and wholly say, oh, you are, the embodiment of Jesus Christ? Absolutely not.
Right.
Why? Because that's in the Bible. You don't do that. That's in all the Bibles. Don't do that. Because then bad things happen. That I do know. That much I know. And I don't want boils or bugs around here. So I'm not going to tell these people, oh, you're a god. No, don't do that.
I don't even have anything to say to that one.
No, I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
I hope you enjoyed our comedy session. Bye, guys.